Hello and welcome to BCS Leaders Voice. On this program, we bring you insights of tech industry professionals and academics on skills education and training. Joining us today is Dr. Hemamali Tennakoon, a senior lecturer in strategy and management with a strong background in higher education industry and a fellow member of BCS. So good to have you with us, Dr. Hemamali. How's it been for you?
It's been very nice, Sharon. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Let's dive into the discussion itself. Tell us about your journey, how it all started and why, or your connection with BCS.
My first degree is in business administration, and during the first year of that degree, we had a lot of IT-related subjects, which got me interested in computing and IT. And I thought I wanted to explore that further. And then I looked around to see what I could do at the time, and I found a BCS and the BCS examinations up to diploma level. So I followed along that path and then completed my diploma. Then I got the membership of the British Computer Society. Then after I got my Ph.D. Because of my research work, and I did 1 year of industry work as well. And because of all of it, I got my fellowship. And that's been my journey of becoming a member and then a fellow of the British Computer Society.
What made you get the BCS membership?
Several reasons, actually. The main two would be the professional recognition. So BCS is known as a professional body that, tries to enhance the profession of information technology and computing. And as a member, as a fellow, and various other membership categories, if you're one of those category of members, you get that professional recognition. And that's one reason why I got my membership. And the other reason is, as an academic, for my research, the resources that are available, resources that are being provided by the British Computer Society is very valuable. For example, you have a very extensive digital library that you can access as a BCS member. And then there are various publications. So all of this helps me to keep up to date about the various technology trends, industry best practices, etc. So the two main reasons I would say would be the professional recognition as well as the access that I get to various materials, IT-related content.
Doctor, I'd like to ask, what are the current trends in business and IT which new graduates need to be aware of before they start their careers in business?
So some of the buzzwords that we hear these days, there are several. One would be big data and data analytics. So as a business IT graduate, I think knowledge of big data is very important because a lot of organizations, businesses, they rely on the data that we accumulate in our organizations and use it for decision-making purposes. So data analytics in the sense, making sense of data for decision-making purposes, looking at the big picture, knowing techniques for data visualization, and extracting meaningful data and seeing patterns and using it for decision making. So one area I would say that would be useful for IT business graduates would be the knowledge of data visualization and big data. And the other area is cybersecurity. So in recent years, we have seen a lot of companies struggling with cybersecurity issues. So it doesn't matter whether you're a pure business graduate, because I have heard students say, I'm a business graduate, I don't know anything about cybersecurity, that's an IT kind of field. It doesn't work like that anymore because you need to have at least some fundamental knowledge of cybersecurity, risk management frameworks, and legal compliance and issues related to privacy, things like that. So cybersecurity is another area that you need to keep an eye on as an IT business graduate. And the other thing would be CSR and ethics, because we think CSR and ethics as a business issue. It's something that businesses have to worry about. It's your commitment to your stakeholders and clients and customers. It's not the case anymore because even as an IT company, you have ethical obligations. So for example, if you take a company like Facebook, they have ethical obligations in terms of how they protect the privacy of their users and customers. So ethics and CSR, another area, another evolving business trend that you need to be aware of.
The word data protection, are we abusing it or are we using it the right way?
It's a very tricky question because it depends on who's using the data protection mechanism. So if you, for example, as an organization, use data protection as a way of withholding information, then it could have negative consequences on your customers, your internal stakeholders, your employees, for example. But there are certain situations where you do need to protect information for sake of privacy, for sake of personal safety, for national security, and so on. So we need to be aware of the legal implications, the legal framework, legal protection mechanisms that are available, and to use it in a mindful way. I think the key word there is mindful use of cybersecurity tools and techniques and frameworks, and also to use the law in such a way that it protects people, not prohibit them from accessing useful information or hinder their freedom of expression and so on.
Brilliant. Doctor, we often hear from businesses that graduates are not prepared for work and that the move from academia to business work is very difficult. What do you think about it? Is it the change of generation?
I think there is a bit of a generational issue as well. The attitudes are changing, and the young generation, they grew up with technology, so they are the tech generation, or the how would you say, the internet generation, so to speak. And now, as an academic, I interact with a lot of undergraduate, postgraduate students. What I see among, especially undergraduate students, is that they want to complete a degree in 3 years, 4 years, and then get into the industry. I mentioned earlier about internships and the benefits of going into the industry and doing 1 year of industry work and then coming back. A lot of students don't want to do that because they want to quickly finish their degree and then get into the industry. The problem there is when you do that, you come with just the theoretical knowledge, then you struggle to adjust to the work culture, not knowing about work ethics, poor communication skills. They do a lot of teamwork related tasks within the university environment, but that's not enough. That doesn't prepare them for the kind of teamwork we're talking about in the industry. So I think the key areas where they struggle, one is poor work ethics. From punctuality to dress code to knowing how to communicate professionally, and then working in teams, especially virtual teams these days. After the COVID-19 pandemic, we moved a lot of our work to the virtual space. And because of it, there were a lot of complaints about isolation and not having social interactions. That's a different side. But still, some students do struggle to adjust to that kind of a virtual environment where there's little supervision, where you have to do things on your own. So self-management of your work and learning to prioritize, working under pressure. Because in the university, you have a very structured environment. We give them deadlines. They know when to submit an assignment, for example, and they have only that assignment to submit in that particular semester. But when they go to the industry, you have to work on multiple projects at the same time and multiple deadlines. And sometimes the industry, the requirements of the customer, it keeps changing, and you have to adjust your deadlines and reprioritize your tasks. So then they're under a lot of pressure. They don't know how to do that. So those are some of the skill gaps that I see in graduates who come out of the university and why they struggle when they go into the industry.
So with those tips and points, I think you can gain some insights, and it's always best to research on a particular area so that you can gain more knowledge and apply it in your work frame as well. Doctor, you have an ongoing appetite for learning, and we know how important it has continued the professional development, education and training has been for you personally. How has it helped your career? Why would you encourage another person to follow the same?
I think personally for me, professional development has played a major role in bringing me to where I am today. Because I've always been a curious person, and I've wanted to explore not just one subject. And if I find something related to what I'm, for example, while I was doing my business studies, as I mentioned before, I got a taste of IT, and then I went and explored that and to see how I can relate that to my business knowledge and my business research. And currently I'm exploring cyber psychology, so now I'm branching off into this area of psychology. So I think the importance of professional development is that you set challenges for yourself. So at the end, there's that personal satisfaction that you've learned something new, you have acquired new skills, and you have accomplished something that you have not done before. You've done something unique. And the other thing is, it also shows your commitment to your profession. Because if you know just one thing, if you've done just one thing, and if you don't do anything further along the way, then you stagnate with that knowledge, because knowledge is constantly evolving and changing. So you need to acquire that new knowledge and show your professional commitment to your profession, to your if you're an academic, to your research, to your students, to your clients, to show that you keep up to date with all the changing things that are happening in the industry, in the business environment. And I think the added benefit of that is you get the opportunity to lead unique projects, maybe career progression, and even get specialized knowledge that only very few people would have, and that gives you more professional recognition, and you could actually do something for the society and the benefit of others with that unique knowledge, because you see not just one perspective but multiple perspectives with different bits and pieces of knowledge that you have.
Dr. IT is evolving, work is evolving. How can BCS evolve to meet the needs of its members and for those following a career in IT?
I must first thank BCS for the tremendous work that they have already done. One thing that I've recently come across that BCS has started is a mentorship program, especially for members who are applying for fellowship and higher categories, because we do find people in different stages of their careers, and some of them have a lot of qualification, a lot of experience, but they don't know how to articulate it and present it in such a way that would get them the due recognition. So the recent initiative that was started by BCS to pair them up with mentors who already have the fellowship, who already have certain experiences and qualification, I think that's a way forward. Other than that, I think in terms of education, BCS could think about developing new educational programs in areas that are outside of pure IT, because computing is not just about programming and software. As I mentioned before, cyber psychology is an emerging field. So curriculum development focusing on these new areas, I think that's one thing that they could think about. And the other thing is how we provide that education. So because of COVID, we did a lot of things online, and that goes for education as well, online learning. So I think a lot of people in the IT industry, they seek flexibility, and that is applicable for education as well. So they would be prompted, encouraged to take up a course that is offered maybe 100% online with tutoring and mentorship attached to it, so they know how to manage their self-studying is possible. So that sort of online programs branching off into new areas of IT, I think that is one thing that BCS could think about going forward.
Thank you for those very complimenting words about BCS, because we thrive and ensure that the industry gets best, as well as an individual, whenever they want to take the necessary training or certification or education in whatever the areas. We have something for the IT and the non-IT candidate as well. As my last question, Doctor, as a respected professional in technology industry, what are your thoughts on encouraging more women to pursue a career in IT and technology to achieve success? We want more women to join the industry.
Yes, I think in the IT industry, as in many other industries, there's this gender stereotyping that we see. Certain industries are male dominant, and IT is not necessarily such an industry. It's changing. A lot of women are entering into this profession. And I would say that whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter, but IT industry is a very inclusive industry. You can bring in your creativity, you can bring in your multiple perspectives, and especially women. Research show that women lead differently, they think about things differently. So that diversity is important in any industry, and it goes for IT industry as well. And it's a very flexible industry, especially for a woman. But where I come from in the UK, I see a lot of women as well as men select the IT industry because of the flexibility and the work-life balance that it offers. So if you have a family to look after, you can work from home, and you can do freelance work. So there's a lot of flexibility, and also the pay is very good in the IT industry. So that gives that economic freedom that women are seeking. So for multiple reasons, it's a very lucrative industry and multiple opportunities for both men and women. I would say choose a IT career in whatever field, because it's, as I mentioned, not just about software and hardware. There are a lot of subfields to choose from, and it's a very lucrative field to be in.
Dr. Hemamali, it's been a real honor to have a fellow member of BCS on BCS Leaders Voice, and we wish you all the very best and say thank you for joining us very humbly for our program. And yes, we'd love to see you soon.
Thank you very much, Sharon, for inviting me, and it's lovely talking to you. Thank you.
With that, we end BCS Leaders Voice. Until we invite you to join us for our next program, take care.